Like and subscribe right now, or this will be in your bed tonight. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video looking at the top posts from r/ProRevenge. Here's the dealio. I continue putting lots of effort into these videos and uploading daily. If you like and subscribe, that's the deal. You guys like and sub, and I make content. Thanks. Do it now. Landlord wants to sue us for hurricane damages. I lived briefly in Florida about a decade ago, which is where I met my partner. It wasn't long after we met that we moved in together due to my not so great living situation, renting a room from a friend who was so addicted to opioids she could barely function, and her enabler husband. We found a nice little 2-bedroom house that was owned by an elderly couple that lived just a few blocks away. Everything was okay. We did find cockroaches after we moved in, which was quite shocking as I'm extremely clean and had never had roaches before. And when we told the landlords, they told us they were not roaches but palmetto bugs. FYI, they are the same thing, and refused to have an exterminator come in. Bad sign #1. Then a hurricane blew in. This was Florida after all. It was only a Cat 1 or Cat 2, I don't really remember, but there was substantial damage to the roof and a lot of water had gotten in. Being northerners, we had no real idea how to prepare properly, and the landlords just told us to lower the hurricane shutters, so that is all we did. It wasn't long after we had mold growing on our walls. ESP in the laundry room reported it to the landlords, and they told us to just wash it down with bleach water. So we did, and it came right back, so it was a constant cleaning process. When we complained, we were told that was what life in Florida was like. They also came and took a look at the roof from the yard and told us, "You two are strapping young men. You can go up there and fix it. Just let us know when you're done." Yeah, no. Then another hurricane blew through, again only a Cat 1 or 2. But this time we had windows broken during the storm, and since our roof was still not repaired or even tarped from the last storm, our carpets and furniture were soaked. Here comes the black mold again, but this time not only on our walls, but on our carpets and furniture too. I spent the days outside with our dog and we were sleeping in my partner's office. Our landlords again told us to just clean it up with bleach water, and that the damage was our fault since we didn't prepare well and hadn't fixed the roof ourselves. So we called the city and had an inspector come by. He walked in and balked at what he found. Black mold all over the carpets and walls. The roach population had a little boom, and he could tell while looking at the roof that it was in need of repair prior to the storm, and it still hadn't been tarped. The best part is, when I was standing at our open door with the inspector just inside, the old man came walking up talking about how we better have repaired the roof and how they were gonna charge us for all repairs and carpet replacements and mold removal, yada yada yada. Cue the city worker who came around the corner and asked him if he was the owner. He said yes, and the inspector told him he was condemning the house because it was not habitable and that it was not our responsibility as tenants to make or pay for the repairs. He also recommended that we should be released from the lease. Never seen an old man wobble away so fast. Later that night, his wife called raising high holy hell about how she was suing us for damages, how we were not getting any money back, blah blah blah. She also said she had removed the condemned/danger signage that was placed on the door because it was embarrassing. People knew it was their property, but she made a mistake. She wrote us strongly worded letters about how we were taking advantage of the elderly, how all the damages were our fault since we didn't do any repairs, how she would not release us from the lease, and how many lawsuits she was going to hit us with. After contacting the inspector who saw our house, who took another trip to the house to replace the signage, we turned all of this in. He laughed and sighed and said he knew exactly how to handle it since he saw this all the time after hurricanes, and if they actually sued, he would testify in our favor since what they were doing was highly illegal. He then told us he was going to pay them a little visit and make sure the letters got into the hands of the right people, as well as how he had to replace the signs. Another thing she admitted in the letters. About a week later, we got a really pleasant call from the landlady saying we were such wonderful tenants and how she was refunding our security deposit and how she was graciously going to let us out of the lease and not pursue any charges or the rent for the last few months, which we had refused to pay since we could not live there, and if we needed help finding a new place to let her know and she would refer us to some. of her friends who owned property too. Lol nope. We did learn, cause we were watching the situation, that the house had to be gutted and completely remodeled. We actually parked up the road with some takeout and watched a crew haul out sheetrock and carpet. They could have saved themselves thousands if they had just called a roofer and someone to clean up the mold instead of making us call the city and have the house condemned and then do whatever they did to make them change their minds on everything else. Still wish I could have been there when they were confronted by inspectors the second time. The first was glorious. TLDR, landlord expected us to repair the damages to our rental caused by a hurricane, and when another hurricane caused even more damage, we had the house condemned and the house had to be gutted. Thanks to all who are still watching. Hope you are enjoying these stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. I turned off a radio station. In the 90s I was a technical operator for a radio station. Long story short, I made production element for them and adverts on top of my other duties. New management came in and decided to only pay me for the tech op shifts I had done and nothing for the production. First month he was there I had invoiced for a little over £3,000 and received a £960 check. I ran the overnights, so when midnight came I moved all my production into a hidden folder in system 30 to shut down the servers, threw the breakers and left. I got a phone call in the morning and was asked to come in for a meeting as I'd left them up the creek. I'd made pretty much 70-80% of all the adverts and production, stingers, idents, montages. The new boss was an ass. He told me I'd damaged the product, which I just laughed at, as before he came in it was a great 80s station, and he turned it into a top 40 station you could find up and down the dial. We'll call him Jay. I'd also found out that the sales staff were charging customers £200 for advert production. They were on 10% commission, and I was getting £40 for each advert, and they pocketed the rest on top of their commission. Bear in mind the rest of the outsourced ads cost £150 to £200. In the meeting I laid out my demands. Me, I can restore everything. But I don't only want the money you owe me from the past month, I want the money from the previous adverts your sales staff has pocketed from my work. They essentially made £160 extra from each advert on top of their commission, around £300 to £400 a pop. Jay, there's no way we can do that. Me, well there's no way I can restore the adverts. Jay, looking at pieces of paper on his desk, we can give you an extra £200 a month. Me, I want the whole amount. Handed him an invoice that totaled a little over £16,000. Jay, color now drained from his face. Me, Jay, pause for dramatic effect. You honor that invoice, or you will have to recreate or outsource all of the production. Jay, okay, let me see what I can do. I'll sort something out for your next invoice date. Me, Jay, another pause. If I don't walk out of here with the money today you don't get them back. Jay, as soon as you restore them, I'll see what I can do. Me, Jay, long drawn out dramatic pause. I will have no guarantees, and I'm not stupid. A bank transfer today, and we can sort that out right here and now. Jay then phones the head office, and within the hour I had every penny of it in my account. His face was a picture when he followed me to the server to watch me just move the files over from one folder to the other. Me, yes, they were right under your nose. Jay, through gritted teeth, you'd best get home and get some sleep. Me, no, good luck tonight. Within 5 hours I was in Spain where I stayed for 4 weeks. When I got back I did hear through the grapevine that the sales team were out for blood. Jay bar locked and blamed them for me being ripped off, and they all lost their commission for 3 months and just got basic pay to make up for the loss. I'm pretty sure the company made more than enough back from that to pay for my hostage negotiation. I used some of what was left to buy a laptop and started jing around town for a few years. Back then it was a rare sight and used to get nerdy types on a night out just hanging around the booths to see what I was doing with a computer in a pub. My friend used to say I looked like I was doing my homework. Edit. A huge thank you to the kind soul whom gave me 100 coins. That really means a lot to me. Never happened before. Thanks so much, it made my year. And a silver thingy too. I'll have to start spreading out the love. Thanks peeps, I'm humbled. Edit 2. Now gold? I really don't know what to say. Thanks so much peeps. Last time I went this viral I needed a cream for the rash. Edit 3. Platinum. I'm truly speechless. Please subscribe if you are still watching. Thanks. I destroyed a robot. After they kicked me out I was the kid who would program calculators to play Tetris during class, so when my school decided to do a week of fun classes I made sure I got into the robot one. It was only 7th grade, but I took my grade seriously, and when in this class I got paired up with two of the biggest slack-offs. I knew I would have to work overtime, so I worked on the coding at home and built the robot at school. As I suspected, none of the others helped out, but what I didn't expect was for them to steal the credit. They purposefully made it so that when the teacher came over it looked like I wasn't doing anything and they were doing all the work. And on the last day we had to work on it, they asked me for a copy of the code and stupidly I did. But what they didn't realize was what I gave them was the last save I had done, which was terribly broken and didn't work. And when I came the next day they and my teacher came and told me I wasn't to participate in the competition and wouldn't get any credit for the week, and I was about to say that I hadn't uploaded the final code when it hit me, so I quickly pulled the teacher aside and showed her I was the one who built and programmed it, but she didn't entirely believe me, so I asked her to do a practice run real quick with everyone to see that everything is going well. She agreed and I then took 2 pieces off the robot and waited for them to crash, and of course they did within 2 seconds and both of them were frantically trying to fix it, and they asked if they could work on it in private, but I strolled up, fixed what they had messed up, and put the pieces back. Should work fine now, said. Then they tried to do it again to have it crash again. After this I downloaded the right code in it, and I was the only one who was controlling it. I ended up winning the tournament and they ended up with -10 points for the week. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe for more videos. The funniest comment on this video will appear in the next video. Bye.